Hey everyone, I'm Guy Zyskind, uh, founder of Secret and CEO of Secret Labs. Secret Labs is basically the company building Secret. So I guess just to set a baseline, how many people have heard about Secret here? Okay, not bad. How many people know kind of like what it does, give or take? Almost as good. So I'm not going to go into a very high level of detail. So I'm going to give a very quick overview because I want to mostly focus on the great projects that have been building on Secret and the stuff that's coming out. That's why this talk is called Secret Summer, because there's actually been a lot of projects building for a lot of time, like the past 1 to 1.5 years, that are actually about to launch. So first of all, what Secret is, for those who don't know. Secret is a blockchain, a smart contract blockchain, very much like Ethereum, like Solana, like Cardano, like all the others. But Secret is unique, as the name suggests, in one key factor, and that is privacy. So there are a lot of solutions, there's a lot of privacy coins out there, right? There's like Monero, there's like Zcash, there are others, which essentially allow you to transfer money anonymously between two participants. But that's where they kind of like, that's where they stop, right? But if we all believe the vision of Web3, and we all believe this idea that we can actually build a better internet, better decentralized applications, then it's not going to be enough to just like hide money transfers between people. Like we actually need to be able to selectively define in each contract, in each application, which information is private and which isn't. And for those, I mean, anyone who's worked like with a blockchain even for like once, or like have written or looked at the Solidity code or something, would know that it's crazy. There's like zero privacy on the blockchain. You can go in and you can see everything, all data, not just transactions. So that's what we're trying to change. In Secret, what we've developed essentially is the ability to make all information in a smart contract, in an application, private. And it's programmable, so the developer can decide in their application based on the needs what parts are being private and what parts are not private. And it's always easier with an example, so let's give a very simple example. There's a lot of people talking about this idea of having voting on the blockchain, right? Like doing elections on the blockchain. And there's some merit to it, some merit to the idea, because running elections on the blockchain, and a blockchain being a decentralized tamper-proof system, so something that's very, very hard to actually attack, makes some sense. But because blockchains are public, and all of them except Secret are public, then if you have something like a voting or an election smart contract, then what actually happens is that everyone can see who votes to whom, and everyone can see like the tally as it goes on. And there's been thousands of psychological studies that basically, I mean, this is how dictatorships work, right? Like you show what people vote for, you create bias, and then it's completely non-democratic. And if you actually go today, there's a lot of projects in the Web3 world that allow you to vote with your tokens about decisions in the community. And if you go to each one of them and kind of look inside, what you're going to see is that most votes, they don't look democratic. What you actually see is like 95+% of the votes vote for one thing. And the reason is because like there's the common bias. If the biggest investor or if the company behind the project are voting one thing, everyone else will vote the same thing. And then on Secret Network, in the same example, you can completely solve that. You can have like a voting application where the votes are completely private. No one sees the results until after the voting period is done. So exactly the same as a democratic election. And we've actually run tests on that, and we've seen that the results are like much, much closer to a democratic process. It's like there's like all of these issues are getting solved. So this is one example of something you can do in Secret that you can't do anywhere else. So I think numbers would really help put things in perspective. Secret Network is a fairly big beast. It has about 200,000 self-custodied wallets. And then it's like covered in pretty much all of the large exchanges like Binance, Kraken, and others, which in our estimation means that there are like at least 500,000 people that hold Secret today. Many of those people, about 100,000 of them, are currently delegating, and which basically means that they provide additional security to the network in return for yield, in return for incentives. But I think that the most striking, the most interesting fact is that there are dozens of teams building applications on Secret, and that's been growing steadily in the past 2 years. But just if you look on everything that's currently built in the last year, it's already like those applications collectively have already facilitated more than, many, many billions of dollars in value transfers and value usage. So why am I saying Secret Summer is coming? Because as I said again, there's a lot of projects that have been building for the past year and a half. Many of these projects are VC funded and have been, so like all of these things that are gonna come out are gonna be like extremely top notch. Let's start with a few things that I'm really excited about. So Hydro is a big AMM coming to Secret. Baseline check again. How many people know what an AMM is? Okay, slightly better than I thought, but still I think deserves an explanation. An AMM is a decentralized exchange. A decentralized exchange essentially means that you hold your own keys, you hold custody of your assets. If people remember Mt. Gox, Bitfinex, all of the other things, then there's merit to decentralized exchanges. There's merit to people holding their own assets and not trusting a third party. But AMM, they kind of like flip the exchange model in another way, which is that everyone can become a market maker. Instead of having an order book, people can just come in, supply liquidity, and then users trade against that liquidity. Now, if I'm a person, why would I supply liquidity? What am I getting out of it? Well, what you're getting essentially a fee for every transaction that happens. Now, in the beginning, Uniswap was the first large-scale deployment. Actually, Bancor made the idea initially, and then Uniswap was the first large-scale deployment. Basically, what people saw is that fees are not enough, right? Like fees are not enough to cover the risk that market makers are making. And then what happened is that projects started to basically make their own tokens. Or if I'm being a bit cynical, they started to print their own money. And they used that money that they printed, those tokens, to basically give them as incentives to market makers who are taking on the risk of providing liquidity in the platform. And that works initially. That works for a while. But if you've seen what happened with the US dollar, eventually when you print a lot of money, then you get inflation. And the value for that money goes down. And then people start to sell, the value of that money goes down, the token price goes down. That means that the rewards go down because now they pay the same, it buys less essentially. Rewards goes down, market makers leave, there's less liquidity in the platform, and eventually users leave as well, and that leads to, in many cases, to a death spiral. So it's very unsustainable. It's the best current model, but it's unsustainable. So Hydro, what I really like about them is that they've actually come up with an extremely complicated financial model, which the bottom line is that they don't rely on printing money. They rely on the protocol actually using the liquidity to earn revenue, and then use that revenue in all kinds of tokens to reward market makers. Long story short, this is a way to actually build what I think is the first sustainable AMM. The one other thing I want to say about it, this can actually benefit not just Secret, this can actually benefit many other chains as well, but they are also using one particular value that only Secret Network can provide. So there's a big issue today, and it's actually like I think already a billions, if not tens of billions of dollar industry, especially on Ethereum. And this is the MEV front-running resistance, front-running attack, let's say. So front-running is an attack that basically there's a lot of bots that are basically tapping into all of these AMMs, all of these decentralized exchanges, and when poor users are coming in to trade, they see what they see what they're about to trade, and they come in and they front in, and they basically like take the better deal and extract value on behalf of on retail investors or like non-suspecting users. This is a big issue that's being solved. There's many attempts to solve it, and Secret Network essentially solves that from the get-go. So they're using that as well. All right, I'm going to switch gears a bit. Silk is another very cool project. Silk is a stable coin. It has two unique properties. So it's the first, I think it's the first non-USD pegged stablecoin. So they're taking a basket of assets and pegging it to them, especially with USD inflation. I think that makes sense. But the other aspect is that it's completely private. So there's no non-volatile asset. Even like if you use Monero or something like that, at the end of the day, you're taking volatility. But there's no like, let's say, stable asset today that you can transact with privately, and they've used our network and our technology to build that. I think another really cool aspect, and actually there's a few building right now, but another very cool aspect is gaming on the blockchain. So gaming on the block, most games, right? Most games that you've ever played, usually they need to have some private information. Because usually games are like a competition, and then if you see what like the other party has, then there's usually just no game, or like it's like you have an unfair advantage. I'll give you a very simple example. Take poker, for example. If I see like my opponent's hand and he see my hand, there's simply no poker game. So most games actually do need some form of privacy to actually even be able to function. And so all games that are building on Secret are making use of that. And Urban Wars, I think, is one of the cooler games. It's a tower defense game. It's like super slick. It's like super high level. It's like in alpha stage right now. And I think it's going to make a lot of waves. And there are many, many other applications that you can really only build on Secret and that are either being built or recently deployed, like Alter, which is a kind of like a decentralized version of Protomail. So it's essentially a decentralized peer-to-peer encrypted messaging email platform. There's Jackal, which is a decentralized encrypted storage. That's really cool because their go-to-market is to actually connect journalists with whistleblowers. So people who are like from like, let's say, countries with sanctions, right? Like maybe like Iran or something, who actually want to tell like, or North Korea, and want to tell things to people from the outside, then they would be able to use that platform and share information securely. And then Secret Sibyl is also very cool. Secret Sibyl, I don't know how much people here know about lending on the blockchain. So DeFi is basically reliant on lending and money markets, but all of that today, because there's no concept of credit score, it means that whenever you lend, you need to over-collateralize your position, right? Because no one knows if you're creditworthy, if you're trustworthy, so they ask you to put more collateral than what you're lending. And that's not a sustainable model. That's not going to last for a long time. So Secret Sibyl, they've actually built, using our technology, the ability to connect to like Coinbase, and soon and to exchanges, and soon to banks. They are taking the information, all of your transaction history, encrypted, so completely private. They calculate a credit score, which is detached from like your main user, so you maintain your financial privacy, but then that credit score can be used by lending applications on-chain to actually give you better deals. If you're creditworthy, it doesn't make sense that you're going to provide over-collateralization. Maybe we want to allow you better terms. If you're a builder, if you're a developer, this is the most important, or an entrepreneur, this is the most important slide in this entire talk. So About 4 months ago, SCRT raised a $400 million ecosystem fund. The ecosystem fund, essentially, it's very simple. If you come and build on SCRT, something that is of interest to us, then we'll help you from the idea stage and up to like getting like a VC company, a VC-funded company out. So there are 2 tracks. There's grants. Grants is like the first money in. You know, you're a developer or a small team coming with idea. You get a small grant that helps you like get some money in the door and a POC, and then with that you go to the ecosystem fund, which is the VC track, which basically invests up to 200 million collectively on that endeavor. And there's real companies being made by this. So Alter, Shade, and a few others, they use that track, and they started from 0 to about like between $5 to $15 million in like VC funding. So it works. One more thing I want to discuss is NFTs in SCRT. I'm not going to focus on Legend, I'm going to focus on NFTs in SCRT. So NFTs today, you know, they're all the rage. A lot of people talk about them, but there's a common joke about NFTs, that it doesn't matter if you own the NFT, I can go into the blockchain, and because everything is public again, I can see the content and copy it and download it. That's called the right-click save. And a lot of people joke about it. There's a hot debate. Some people say it doesn't matter. Anyone who critiques NFT says it does matter. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, but it's definitely not the way things should be. So with SCRT, what we actually realize is that we can solve this problem. Because we can encrypt everything on chain, then we can actually encrypt NFTs such that only the owner of the NFT can actually see the data associated with it. And the first major project where we used this technology was with Quentin Tarantino a few months ago. I have to admit, Quentin was actually the one that convinced me that there's a lot of value in this. Because when Quentin came to us, he said, I don't believe in NFTs. I don't see the value of a medium where I distribute something, but then everyone can copy it. And what am I even giving? What am I even selling? And then when we told him about SCRT NFTs, he said, okay, this is what I want. This has value, because if I'm selling something that only the owner can see, then that's something, then that is interesting. That I can understand. That cannot be just easily copied by everyone. And since Quentin, we've actually had a lot of really well-known people come to us and say, look, we want to launch our project on SCRT Network, on your network. And I think let's say the thing that interests me personally the most, and I think our team and gets excited, is this upcoming NFT drop with Kevin Smith, which is, you know, Jay and Silent Bob, if people don't know, like Dogma, like, again, one of the more well-known filmmakers and actors. And so Kevin basically said that he's done a whole new movie. The movie is called Kilroy Was Here, and he said, I want to use your technology to distribute that movie. I don't want to sell it to Netflix right now. I want to see if I can actually turn it into a series of NFTs, and each NFT would actually hold the movie. And this is something that only SCRT can do, because, you know, again, if he were to release it on Ethereum, for example, then anyone would be able to just take one of those NFTs, immediately copy the movie, and be done with it. But here, if you're getting the movie, then you're getting first, if you're getting the NFT, then you're getting first access to the movie as part of the NFT. And to drop some alpha or some secrets, if you will, we're actually dropping the first, it's going to be in 2 phases. We're going to have like a limited edition drop next week, June 1st. And it's going to be limited to 300 pieces. And anyone who purchases that NFT is going to get the movie itself, a generative art NFT, the movie itself, like everything, like a lot of perks and utilities that you can see on the website. But also, if any of you are going to Austin, to Consensus, or to Decentral in 2 weeks, Kevin is coming there with us, and anyone who buys that NFT gets a free ticket to attend the in-person premiere of the movie, which was never shown before, with Kevin Smith. If you go into this link, it gives you a guaranteed whitelist spot, which also gives you a discount and access. If you don't use this link, then it's going to be kind of hard to get a whitelist spot because you have to do all kinds of crazy stuff in our community. So if this is of interest, feel free. And then we have a booth outside, so if you're interested in learning more, this was really the tip of the iceberg. Come talk to us. I'm there, like half of our team there. And final thing to close, we're hiring amazing developers. So if you're interested in this or Web3, talk to us as well. Thank you very much.